What's up guys, it's Eventon here, and as you guys can tell by the title of the video, I'm going to be recommending some destroyer fits for some of you alpha accounts, or I should say some alpha players. And I try to keep the skills on this very low, so all of these fits, they're all going to be using meta modules for the most part, especially for the weapons and stuff. Some of the T2 modules don't require really high skills, but you can downgrade those if you need to, but that's when the fit gets a bit tight. I tried my best not to use any faction ammo as well as any like faction or T2 drones as well. So if you guys are able to upgrade some of these modules, it's just going to make it that much easier. And all of these fits are going to work for alpha accounts that have CPU upgrades as well as power grid upgrades to 4 as well. So you guys don't need to have 5 in order for these fits to work. So these are meant to be for some very low end and even some pretty new alpha accounts in order to pull this off. I'm going to do this video a bit differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the fit for initially for a little bit, but then I'm actually just going to go ahead and play some game footage of me running the sites as I'm explaining the fit. That way it saves a bit of time and I'm not kind of splitting it up. I also tried to do my best to do one destroyer fit for each of the empires, just in case some people are really loyal to their empire, or if they only have certain weapon types that'll work, or like they've like skilled into and stuff. So just try to switch it up that way. But I can only recommend 3 of the empires, or I should say like 3 different destroyers for this event. There are other videos that do have other destroyers that work very well. I'll probably recommend one of them towards the end of the video, but for now, we'll go ahead and jump into the fits. All right, and the first fit we're going to look at, I'm only going to spend like 30 seconds on because this is the one I don't recommend. Between the Thrasher and the Talwar, I thought the Talwar would be a little bit more friendly when it comes to running these sites. Looking at the fit real quick, I actually had to run faction ammo in order to even push enough damage to run these sites somewhat effectively. And as you guys can see, as I'm running the site, the repping power is just not there. And sometimes the damage application just isn't there either. And especially with the last person in the room, it got really tight. I had to overload some modules and it's just not good enough. So I don't recommend this fit. I'm not even going to link it down in the description, but I do recommend these next 3 fits because they are much safer for you new bros. All right, and the next fit I recommend is the Algos. And I mean, I'm arguably doing the fits from, I guess, worst to best, but the next 2 fits, the Algos, the next fit I'm going to show you, are both pretty much on par. It just really depends on where your skills lie. So if you have more skills in, let's say, hybrid turrets and like drones, as well as like armor, the Algos is a bit better. But the next fit is better if you do have better shields and like, let's say, rocket skills. We'll go ahead and take a look at the fit. I pretty much put everything really low. As you can see here, I'm running like basically T1 drones. I'm running non-faction ammo like antimatter charges. I'm using railguns because everything that's webbing you and scramming you and stuff, they're pretty much staying just outside of like blaster range, so I have to use railguns on here. And again, these fits are not meant to be super cookie cutter. If you're able to upgrade, let's say, some of the rig slots, if you don't need that ancillary current router, like let's say you do have power grid 5 and you don't need it and you're willing to upgrade some other stuff or put it in another slot, you can do that as well. Like I said, I made these fits expecting that you only have power grid 4 and CPU 4. So if there's some slots that I put in there that helps like increase it, or if you don't need that slot, you just replace it with something else. Same thing with the weapons. Like if you're able to do T2 weapons, if you're able to upgrade certain things, go ahead and do that if you need it, because I don't know your skills. I put everything on the very low end just in case, because I'm not exactly sure. As you can see, I'm running the site. I did forget to like use my drones for quite a bit when I initially started the site, but yeah, be sure to have your drones out because that does make up like half your damage on this fit. The site doesn't tend to focus drones too badly. After a while, they like you will have some of the ships just all of a sudden focus them, so keep a close eye on that. But for the most part, drones are really good for this event comparatively to the other ones where they would instantly focus them and they would almost get blown up right away. I do like this fit. The nice thing I do love about it is that the energy Nosferatu does help a lot with the neuting. So if you are getting neuted by 3 or 4 ships, this does offset it by quite a marginal like amount. And you'll notice some of the fits are really identical. Pretty much every single one of these fits has a small cap battery as well as a cap recharger to help reduce some of that neuting and also increase your cap regen between waves, so you're able to recover a bit better. But yeah, I really like the Algos, and I think you guys should try it out too. So again, this is a fit if you do have good skills for drones, armor, and hybrid turrets. I do recommend this one. All right, and the next fit I recommend is the Corax. So this fit's really good if you have good shield as well as missile and rocket skills. One thing I did forget to mention in the last fit is that I did put in the faction and like non-faction ammo, just in case you guys are trying to decide between which ones you could use. You guys can actually compare the damage difference and see if it's worth investing the extra ISK for the faction version. Same thing with the drones. I just put T1 versions of all these fits for like the drones, but if you are able to use faction, or if you're willing to spend extra for the faction, or if you can run T2 drones, I highly recommend you do that as well. Same thing with the weapons. So finally, looking at the Corax, there's two good things and there's two bad things about this fit. We'll go ahead and start off with the bad things. The two bad things are, the first, it's very slow. You don't have a prop mod. You're only moving around at like 250, 300 meters a second, depending on your skill. So it's very, very slow. It's very annoying when you're trying to chase those bantams that are just sitting there and doing nothing, but it is what it is. The second, I would say, bad thing, and you can easily control this if you just focus the right targets, which is there's no Nosferatu, so there's really no way for you to kind of regenerate cap actively while in the middle of a fight. So you definitely want to focus the ships that are running at the neutralizers first. So if you kill those first, you should be fine. The two good things I do like about this fit is that it still pushes like a really good amount of damage compared to some of the other fits. And the second thing is it has really good tanks. So the whole time, and it's also easy to run. I mean, there's only 3 modules you need to worry about on this fit. So it's actually really new bro friendly in that sense if you're not very good at like juggling multiple modules, dealing with drones, things like that. So this is the easiest fit to run, I should say. So you want to run your multispectral shield hardener the whole time. So the enduring one actually helps save on capacitor versus like the T2 version. Again, if you can run the T2 version and still be fine, go for it. Only run your shield booster when you need it. The shield booster actually heals for a pretty healthy amount, and it's per 3 seconds, so it actually heals for more and faster than the armor versions. And yeah, so just be sure to focus the newts first, because if you don't, you're going to get neuted out. There's no way to regenerate it, so you want to do that as well. And before you enter in the last room, I would argue wait till you have at least like 60% capacitor before you enter in the boss room, because you will get neuted, and if you run out of capacitor, and like I said, because this has no Nosferatu, it could get hairy very quickly. So just before you enter in the last room, just make sure your capacitor's up and only rep your shield booster when you need it. All right, last but not least is the Dragoon, and this was by far my favorite. And again, I mean, my skills are a bit higher. I was using non-faction ammo. I was using T1 drones. So your skills, so you could be doing more damage than kind of what I'm showing here. There's a lot of great things about this fit, but there's one huge downside, which I think could be an issue for some alpha players, or especially new bros. So looking at the fit here, in the rig slots, we have a lot of just armor resistance as well as the nano pump, because this fit is actually able to run double armor repair 2s in the low slots. Because of the Dragoon's extra large like power grid compared to the other destroyers, we can actually run 2 small armor repairs. So now we have a lot of healing coming in. This is the ship that has the most healing of all the fits that I've shown so far. I'm running rocket launchers just because even though everyone assumes Amar can use like lasers, I mean, this thing can use lasers, but that's just going to hurt our capacitor even more. I like using rockets just because that's where I have most of my skills, and you can actually select a specific damage type, in this case kinetic. This thing is running double compact energy Nosferatus in the high slot. If you're not running into capacitor issues, you can sub one of those out for, let's say, a laser or a hard point turret, like whatever it is. Again, these fits aren't meant to be 100% cookie cutter. You guys can exchange things, upgrade them, downgrade, whatever you need to do. Hopefully upgrade, because this is on the very low end, I would say, of the skills that you would need to run these sites. And yeah, and we're also running drones too. So this thing is a big like drone boat. So if you don't have your drones active, you're reducing your damage by like 70%. You need to have your drones out and actively attacking something. So you do need to juggle that. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, this thing is double repair. It has an afterburner for extra mobility. It can run rockets. It can run Nosferatus. It runs drones. But the big downside, I think, for alpha players is that, I mean, you're managing 6 different modules at once, including the drone. So that's almost kind of like another module, quote unquote, you have to deal with. So you have to actually manage like 7 things at once with this fit. Originally, the damage control unit I wasn't using, and I was actually using a reactive armor hardener, which was giving me more tank, but it was just like an 8th module to deal with. And so I think that's a bit much. So I actually remember that and just replaced it with the damage control. So that's the big thing with this fit. So this is the safest fit, but if you're really struggling to balance a lot of modules at once, I don't recommend this fit. So if you can't juggle this many things at once and manage your drones and lock targets and keep your Nosferatus active the whole time so you can keep your armor repairs active, I wouldn't recommend this fit. I would probably actually recommend the Corax, because that only has 3 modules to worry about, and it still has really good tank. Not as good as this one, but it's still good enough to keep you alive. All right, we're going to be heading back to the fitting window one last time just to kind of do a very brief overview for 1 minute on kind of the positives and the negatives of each of the fits, just in case you guys still aren't sure which fit to use. So the first one I showed was the Algos. On paper, this one does push the most damage among all three, but the resistances and the shield repping, or I should say the armor repping, is a bit iffy, so that's kind of the counteract mit. So if you're killing ships faster, you should be taking less damage overall. I would say in this fit, you want to actually focus the big ships first, or the cruisers and destroyers first. I'm not too worried about the neuting because we do have a Nosferatu and we have a single repper. So on this fit, I would recommend actually killing the ships that are dealing the most damage to you first. The Corax is really good because you're only dealing really with 2 modules. I mean, you're running your armor hardener, or I should say shield hardener, the whole time, and you only have to deal with your rockets and your medium shield booster. So only run the booster when you need it. On this fit, I would actually focus the neutralizing ships first because we have no way of actively recovering capacitor in the middle of a fight. Most of the regen is going to be coming between the fights and maybe towards the tail end of a fight if there's not really anything neuting at all. So this is a really good balance between damage and tank, and if you don't like dealing with a lot of modules, I'd run the Corax. The Dragoon, I would say, by far is probably the safest if you don't mind juggling a lot of modules, including drones as well. But this one does have a lot of wiggle room for mistakes, so in case you forget to turn on your armor hardeners, or if you are running low on capacitor, you do have double armor reps to get that up quickly. Same thing with double energy Nosferatus in order to kind of get your capacitor up quickly, just in case you forget to turn them on as well. And that's pretty much it, guys. I really hope some of you new bros, or at least some of you alpha accounts, found these fits to be pretty useful. And again, they're not meant to be 100% cookie cutter. They're more of a guideline. So if you are able to upgrade your weapons, your ammo, your modules, your drones, heck, even some of the rig slots, I try to use like the inexpensive versions just to kind of save a bit on S. But anything you guys are able to upgrade or move around, you should definitely do so. So again, these fits are more of a roadmap for you guys on how to fit your own ship. So down in the comments below, I'm really curious, what fits have you guys been having success with, whether it's alpha or omega, preferably alpha just because that's what the video is about. But I'm curious what kind of fits you guys have been using and seeing success with running these sites as well. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And again, if you guys are new to EVE Online and you've been watching these videos for a while, if you are going to be making an alt account, if you check out the description, there is a link that I have to give you 1 million skill points, which will allow you to fly any of these ships that I've recommended right away. So that way you can start running the hunt sites as soon as possible. So that's it. Hope you guys take care and you fly safe.